Shadow the Hedgehog. Why does that name haunt me?
Well, maybe it's because, to quote Eggman,
he's only the second most popular character in the whole canon!
And I'm one of the many people who just can't get enough of this angry little spiky senior hedgehog. Anytime Shadow makes an appearance, I get really excited. He was awesome to play as in Sonic Adventure 2, and he worked well enough with Rouge and Omega as Team Dark in Sonic Heroes. However, he also starred in a game that has left many people divided. Some say it's great, some may say it's average, and some say it's even downright terrible. I am, of course, talking about... No, not that one. No, not that one either. Oh, come on, he was only in that game for like 5 minutes. No, I'm talking about... Shadow the Hedgehog. A game that, as I have stated before, has been quite divisive in the Sonic community. From design choices to the guns to the mild swearing, many claim this is a hot mess, and has been used as the butt of many jokes and mockery. The thing is, I always remembered having fun with this game as a kid. For the most part. And don't worry, we'll get there eventually. For now, let's start off by taking a look at the story. Sort of. The game begins with a cutscene showing Shadow contemplating who he is and what happened on the Ark 50 years ago. All he seems to remember is him and Maria fleeing from the gun soldiers, and Maria being shot.
Maria!
He questions his amnesia, as well as the importance of this Maria girl, but that train of thought is soon interrupted by a cloudy crimson vortex swirling above the city. From this vortex, the alien race known as the Black Arms come raining down, beginning their invasion of the planet. Just as Shadow is about to leave, a low, gravelly voice calls to him. Doom's Eye then shows Shadow a projection of the leader of the Black Arms, Black Doom. He instructs Shadow to find the 7 Chaos Emeralds and deliver them to Black Doom, as promised. This will be brought up again later.
Suddenly explosions, oh god!
With nothing else to go off of, since we obviously can't trust these guys, and the floating demon man looks so trustworthy, Shadow heads into the city, set on his mission to collect the Chaos Emeralds. Now I want to take a break from storytelling and touch upon the first issue with this game. Unlike other Sonic games, this game acts like a choose-your-own-adventure book, where each mission you complete will move you to another space on this handy-dandy grid. Completing dark missions make you go higher on the grid, neutral missions keep you going straight, and hero missions make you go lower on the grid. You go through 6 stages, and end off your adventure with one of 10, technically 11, endings. The issue this brings is that since there's 22 levels in this game, the way you weave your story in between each level can get disjointed. Worst of all, most of it won't even be pertinent by the end of the game. For now, I'll go into different levels and briefly talk about them, their missions, and what I think about the level in general. The first level in the game, and the one you'll be seeing the most. It's alright, although first-timers may have a bit of trouble finding and killing every soldier or alien for the dark or hero missions respectively. It's very open, the only large inconvenience being these random, hard-to-dodge lasers that cause explosions. Good thing is, you only lose 10 rings when you get hit, so there's plenty of room for error. You actually collect 2 Chaos Emeralds in this level, with the first one being the catalyst to your 2 main powers. Chaos Blast, which is a decently large AoE explosion attack, and Chaos Control, which lets you skip a chunk of the level. When either meter is full, Shadow turns into the respective color, and the meter will start draining. During this, he's completely invincible, and if you're carrying a weapon, ammo will not be depleted. The first level with the digital world aesthetic, I should mention that level aesthetics are shared between 2 levels each. Both missions are pretty similar. The hero mission just has you getting to the gold ring, but the dark mission makes you take a step further and destroy the central computer that's through a portal just above the emerald. It's a pretty fun level overall. Pretty bland level overall, though the bit where you get sucked in a tornado feels oddly familiar. The hero mission is the same as Westopolis, kill a certain number of aliens, but the dark mission has you activating big floating green jewels to reawaken the ruins, which are secretly ships for the Black Arms. It's not hard since most of the jewels are in the middle of your path, but the last one has you defeating a few aliens, which doesn't make a lot of sense. You'd think the spring to it would be open when you activate all the previous ones. A level I didn't appreciate enough when I was younger. It may be a bit tough until you realize you can cheese the hero mission by grabbing an automatic weapon and filling up either of the chaos meters to take down the alien tank. This level really lets you keep your speed with how wide the street is, and it keeps you on your toes with the bombs sprinkled around. This is also the only level that has Sonic the Hedgehog say damn, so make of that what you will. A really fun level aesthetic with a tough dark mission for beginners that has you lighting up giant lanterns for Eggman. The trouble comes from figuring out where you need to go in order to actually get to the lanterns, since some of them are a bit off the path you would normally take. The hero mission isn't as bad, but it's still a bit confusing. You have to find cream and cheese. Finding cream isn't hard, but cheese is a bit out of your way. Word of advice? None of the chow in the big room are cheese. But he is close, one of the walls pulled back. Back to the level aesthetic though, it really does stand out to me. It feels like a more macabre and sinister version of Hang Castle from Sonic Heroes. Aside from the location being a callback to Sonic Adventure 2, this level is awful. It's ugly, bland, and the hero mission has you collecting top secret discs for Charmy B. Not only that, but most of the time you'll be floating down bright green rivers of radioactive waste, using these floating discs the Black Arms like to ride on. The control on them is terrible. The dark mission has you kill more gun troops. Just do the neutral mission on this one and get the Chaos Emerald. Circus Park is really hard if you're doing the hero mission. You have to collect 400 rings with tails, which is really hard when you're running at top speed. I wish the counter just kept track of how many rings you collected overall, instead of just linking to your standard ring counter. The dark mission is more of the same kill X amount of enemies. The aesthetic is fine, though the music track is a bit annoying for this level. Central City isn't that great. It's the only level that's made with this sort of small, boxed-in design. You have to blow up a set number of bombs for both missions. The hero mission has you blowing up 20 small bombs with Knuckles, while the dark mission has you blowing up 5 huge bombs with Black Doom. First timers will probably get lost navigating through this level, so be wary. I would suggest you take your time, but there's a time limit on this stage set for 8 minutes, so don't take too long. God, I hate this level. Let me jump the gun for a second here and say that both 50 years ago ARC missions are horrible. Horrible missions that make you search high and low all over this horrible and ugly looking stage make me crave death every time I get to it. I have never, ever beaten these missions, and there's really no reason to, seeing as both have a neutral mission that just have you going for the goal ring. But good luck finding that in this maze. These two levels are the worst in the game, no question. I like this level. I find it to be pretty open and the missions aren't too bad in this one. The hero mission has you destroying the jewels from earlier with Eggman, and the dark mission has you blowing up Eggman's battleships with Black Doom. It oddly reminds me of the Egg Fleet mission from Sonic Heroes, but I think it's just because of the buildings in the sky. This is also a level that people like to rag on because of this clip.
In this blue sky, staring at it from afar. Have I seen it before?
Mad Matrix is a bit of a smorgasbord in quality. I think the environment is really cool with the 4 towers, and a hero mission is enjoyable enough in which you have to activate all 4 terminals, which means visiting all 4 of the towers I mentioned before. But then the quality takes a nosedive with the dark mission. Let me explain. Black Doom tasks you with detonating 30 bombs. Sounds simple enough, until you realize all the bombs are located on this huge web of light / circuitry trails, in which you can only go forward unless there's a crossroads. The problems are as follows. You can't control the camera while you're on the trail, so you can only see ahead of yourself. You can see the whole map, but not all the bombs. And finally, it all looks the same. All these problems stacked together make this mission pretty much impossible to A rank without a guide. 4 out of 10, would not bomb again. The first thing that you may notice is that this level is pretty vertical compared to the rest of the game. The second thing you may notice is the kick-ass theme for this level. This may be one of my favorite tracks in the game, if I have to be honest. Both missions are fine. Hero has you taking down aliens with Rouge, while Dark has you simply heading for the exit with Black Doom. can't tell if it's just me, but this level also seems to be a bit more saturated in terms of color. I'm not complaining, I just thought I'd point it out. Now this level is really cool. The Black Arms have begun invading the Space Colony Ark, and so now you either have to make your way alone through the debris and defenses the Ark has surrounding it, or actively take down the large green structures that power the defenses, allowing Black Doom and his forces to take over the Ark. Even though you're essentially on a railroad track since this level is nothing but flying with the Black Hawk, I still really enjoy this level. Seeing all of the floating pieces of platforms that you will definitely recognize if you've played Sonic Adventure 2, and the attack itself on the Ark is just really cool. Be careful while flying, as the environment can get a little hectic. Airfleet is another pretty neat level. The Dark mission has you chasing down the President's aircraft and destroying it in an attempt to murder the President. Yikes. Well, regardless, it's still pretty fun. You go in and out of Gun's airship a lot in this level, which can lead to some tense platforming if you're reckless. Just keep your eyes on the prize, which is, again, the assassination of the President of the United Federation. Or you could ignore Black Doom's orders and just go get the Chaos Emerald. Or you could team up with Tails and kill more aliens. This level isn't that great, it just feels bland in general. The Dark mission has you destroying more gun robots, and the Hero mission is just a less fun version of the Dark mission from Airfleet. While chasing the President's aircraft felt tense due to how the level was made, the egg balloon sacrifices speed for weaponry. It will shoot at you, and the explosions will hit you if you stay still. There's also the trouble with how the level is designed. It's pretty hard to figure out how you're supposed to access the higher levels, and I feel they're really stingy with weapons that you can actually use to take down the egg balloon. Space Gadget feels half like a reference to Sonic Adventure 2 and half something completely different. For the Hero mission, Sonic challenges you to a friendly race in the Chaos Emerald, almost reminiscent of their last two levels in SA2 where they went after the Eclipse Cannon. The Dark mission has you taking out the Ark's defenses again, but this time there's no Black Hawk to ride on. Now this level's gimmick is pretty neat. Like the switches in Crazy Gadget back in SA2, there are these green orb things that can change the gravity when you touch them. But unlike Crazy Gadget, I find they're incorporated pretty well and the level design does a good job adjusting to the switches. The second of the 50 years ago Ark levels, and it's just as bad as the last one. While there's only 2 missions here, both are even worse than the last. The Neutral mission has you going to the goal ring to get Maria out, but like I mentioned last time, good luck making your way through this maze of a level and figuring out which door leads to the exit. The Hero mission has you destroying all 35 of the artificial chaos with Maria, and it's horrible. This stage is so big and maze-like you'll be wandering in circles wondering if you've been in this room before, or if there's more artificial chaos to destroy. Every other room looks the same as the last. This level's okay. Both missions are pretty easy, with the Dark mission making you destroy 3 cores in the base. They'll always be on the lower path of the level, and when you get into the rooms where they're located, they're easy to spot with how big they are. Not only that, but since the base is littered with gun troops and robots, there's nothing stopping you from beating up one of the walkers, taking the Gatling gun, and raising utter hell when your Dark Chaos gauge fills up. The Hero mission has you forcing your way through Gun's defenses to get to the Chaos Emerald with Rouge, so that way you can protect it from the Black Arms. Honestly, in terms of visuals, this level is kind of middle of the road for me. I don't hate how the level looks, but a lot of it is gray and filled with concrete structures, making some rooms very samey and very bland. Black Comet is a meh stage. Most of the time you'll be on one of those floating discs since there is literally no ground below you. Although using the disc is not as bad as Prison Island since the level is much bigger. The Dark mission has you destroying gun robots for Black Doom, and the Hero mission pairs you up with Knuckles as you make your way to the center of the comet. There's really not much else to say about this level that stands out. I ended up liking Lava Shelter a lot more than I thought I would. I remember not liking this level at all when I was a kid, but I think that's because I didn't really know what I was doing back then. This level has you making your way through Eggman's last base, and depending on which mission you choose, you can either help Eggman set up his volcanic defenses, or you can team up with Omega to make your way to Eggman to bust his kneecaps. I must say I like the environment this level brings, as well as the track used for this level. It's good stuff. The volcanic defenses really change up the way you traverse through the level. Now this is an excellent level. It might actually be the best level in the game in my opinion. In this level, the arc is falling apart around you, and so you have to traverse through the level by jumping across the different strips of platforms that are falling, and you have to complete either of the missions in 15 minutes. Now this level is a bit infamous due to the hero mission being that mission, but it's really not that bad. Both missions are pretty much the same, but the Dark mission has you gunning for the Chaos Emerald. The hero mission has you and Vector do a little more legwork to
Find the computer room!
I love the environment in this level, as well as the track. Seeing all of the debris falling from the Ark to the planet below reminds me a bit of how Professor Gerald had programmed the Ark to crash into the planet back in SA2. This is an okay level, if you take out the fact that it's one of the last levels of the game. It's big, has varied set pieces, and the track for the level isn't bad. The hero mission has you pairing up with Sonic to find Black Doom, while the Dark mission, like in Lava Shelter, has you activate Black Doom's defenses, changing the pathway of the level drastically. But instead of lava, it's a bunch of barriers. Can't say I like this level more than Lava Shelter though. Something about Lava Shelter's design appeals more to me. Maybe I just find the Black Comet aesthetic not that interesting? Phew! That was a lot to go through. But finally we can head back into the story. Now let's take a look at the bosses! Look, I won't go too in-depth on the bosses since they're all pretty easily, but I'll still briefly touch upon each one. Black Bull is a very bland and very easy boss fight, no matter which of the two versions you're fighting against. There's one at the end of Lethal Highway and Death Ruins, with the latter being the easiest since he simply doesn't move. And while the one at the end of Lethal Highway flies around, the fact you can still hit its weak spot from the ground makes these fights pathetically easy. He barely even puts up a fight, all he does is shoot very slow fireballs. Eggman may call the Egg Breaker his latest and greatest creation, but don't be deceived into thinking that this thing actually poses a threat. It really doesn't. No matter how many times he tries to make you go,
Lights up!
and no matter how many times he reminds you that,
You know what they say, the more the merrier.
all you need to do is grab a few guns and just spam the shoot button while staying out of his line of fire. Black Doom, the big baddie behind all of this. You'd think he'd be relentless and hit you hard and fast, but nope. He floats around slowly on 2 different levels of altitude and just shoots off very telegraphed long-range attacks like red and purple cutters and portals that shoot out asteroids. That's about it. He just sucks. Eggman may call the Egg Dealer his latest and greatest creation, but don't be deceived into thinking that this thing actually poses— Nah, but seriously, while this Eggman invention is a bit more challenging than the last one, it's not because it's a better boss fight. You can only hit the 3 buttons on the front to stop the roulette wheels, and you will randomly get to either send bombs or missiles back at Eggman, get Chaos Blast immediately, or splooge a bunch of rings in the center of the arena. He's also constantly running away from you, so have fun chasing after him. Not even Sonic and the Gun Commander controlling the Diablon mech come close to a challenge. Sonic only serves as a footstool to get you to the Diablon's head so you can hurt it, and the mech itself barely does anything to actually hurt you. It has a laser that's pitifully easy to dodge,
Top of the morning to you, laddies! My name is Jacksepticeye.
that I can guarantee will never hit you since you'll always be up in the air anyways, and the antimatter cannon is like a slower, less powerful version of your own Chaos Blast. Man, all of these bosses are pretty lame, but I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh right, Gun! I totally forgot about Gun's Heavy Dog and Blue Falcon vehicles. Let's see how those are. Oh my. These are great. I love these fights. They're like the other gun mech fights back in SA2. And speaking of SA2, I'd recognize that battle theme anywhere. These 2 fights are great callbacks to the first ever time you got to play as Shadow, and I wish the other fights were like this. Even though they're not particularly hard, that particle beam cannon that sweeps the whole ground can wreck you if you don't move out of the way quick enough. Good lord, how far in this are we? 10 pages? Ah, what the hell, let's throw a few more. So, another issue people have with this game is the end portion of it. Mainly the fact that there's a last story segment after you get all 10 endings, which I won't get into because this is already long enough as it is. Just know that 2 of them have Shadow believing he's an android, and he also straight up kills Eggman in one of them.
What?
Goodbye, Doctor.
While I personally don't entirely mind it, as it provides some form of definitive closure for Shadow's character by the end of the game, it does bother me a bit that most of the game's plot points go nowhere, since again, having this last story renders the rest of the endings essentially pointless. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself though, it's time to jump back into the story. Aboard the Black Comet, Shadow has succeeded in collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Before he can hand them over to Black Doom, Sonic and his friends run up to Shadow and plead with him to not give Black Doom the Chaos Emeralds. Black Doom finally reveals what his end goal is, to save humanity from themselves by using them as an energy source. To do that, they need the power of the Chaos Emeralds so they can conquer the planet. Black Doom takes the emeralds and warps the Black Comet down to the surface of the planet with the power of chaos control, bypassing the atmosphere which would have destroyed the Black Comet. The comet begins to spread something all over the city. I honestly have no clue, it looks like giant tendrils. Black Doom reveals that Shadow has accomplished the mission he was created for, as Professor Gerald had struck a deal with Black Doom. In exchange for helping Gerald to create the ultimate life form, Black Doom wanted the Chaos Emeralds for his plan. To quote Black Doom, Shadow would help them do both. Sonic decides he wants this game to end already so they can get to Sonic 06, and Knuckles agrees, but before they can break this game, Black Doom releases a gas that paralyzes all of our wonderful characters. When all hope seems lost as the little death leeches, yes, that's what these little buggers are called, approach our heroes, Shadow remembers the voice of Maria, asking for help. Shadow breaks free from the gas's influence, declaring that he's put the past behind him, and vows to destroy Black Doom. The final level, titled Last Way, has you barreling your way through the depths of the comet, and making your way to confront Black Doom. You have 10 minutes to complete the level, which looks suspiciously similar to Final Haunt without the levers. How you make your way through doesn't really matter since there's no rank for this level. When Shadow confronts Black Doom, he is forcefully stopped in his tracks, as Black Doom reveals that Shadow wasn't just created from any old Black Arms DNA, but from Black Doom himself, allowing Black Doom to control Shadow. Meanwhile, aboard the Ark, Team Chaotix fumbles on a computer, with Charmy literally slamming his butt in it until an old recording begins broadcasting. The recording somehow manages to broadcast all the way to the Black Comet, and it turns out to be a message from Professor Gerald. The professor admits he knew about the government's plan to shut down the Ark and arrest all of those who worked on Project Shadow. He admits contacting and working with Black Doom was a terrible mistake, and explains that Shadow's true purpose was to be the planet's protector from the Black Arms, with the help of the Eclipse Cannon. Reinvigorated by this recording, Shadow breaks free from Black Doom's mind control and declares, once again, that he's putting his past behind him. Before Shadow can land a killer blow, however, Black Doom vanishes, and Shadow uses the power of the Chaos Emeralds to transform with the sickest transformation theme ever! Hell yeah, that was awesome! Now let's get to the fight.
Eye on that side, so now we need to come over. Ah, dang, pretty warped.
Oh no. Okay, so Black Doom has transformed into Devil Doom. His main defense is surrounding himself with debris from the city and yeeting it at you. Since you're in your super form, it can't hurt you, but it does knock you back a bit. Destroying the debris with your Chaos Spear fills up your Dark Chaos meter, which is actually useful in this fight since the Chaos Blast is a good alternative to your Chaos Spear. And now for the reasons this boss fight makes me want to die. The lock-on for the Chaos Spear never seems to work when it's fully charged. I swear to God I can never land a hit on this devil douche's face with a big spear, and so I'm forced to go back and forth to hit both of his heads because every time he gets hit, no matter how big the damage, he moves to the opposite head. And don't even get me started on the teleporting. This dude teleports if you so much as dip your pinky in his inner circle of laser orb thingies. And him teleporting causes you to lose time, which causes you to lose rings, and eventually lose your goddamn mind. Sorry, this boss fight is just a pretty big letdown. At least the theme for it isn't that bad though. So after all that tediousness, Devil Doom finally goes down. Super Shadow then uses the power of Chaos Control to teleport the Black Comet back into space, allowing it to be destroyed by the Eclipse Cannon. I'm surprised Team Chaotix managed to activate it at all. Nevertheless, the Black Arms are destroyed in one fell swoop, and everyone is celebrating. The president proposes they should honor Professor Gerald's legacy, even though he tried to destroy all of humanity by having the Ark crash into the planet. But hey, Gunn killed his granddaughter, so I guess it evens out. As everyone else celebrates, we see Shadow is alone on the Ark, holding a photo of Gerald and Maria Robotnik. His final words are,
Goodbye forever, Shadow the Hedgehog.
as he throws the image, and by extension the weight of his past, away. So after all of this summarizing, analyzing, and just overall rambling, what are my final thoughts on this game? I still mostly like it. It's odd, despite the problems this game has, like the mostly irrelevant side plots, how Shadow's acceleration in-game is immense, how the boss fights are mostly pathetically easy, and really some other nitpicks here and there, this game still holds a good place in my heart. Maybe it's because this was one of the first few games I ever had in my life. Maybe I just haven't outgrown my love for Out the Edge. Actually, that may explain why I really like Infinite's character design. Anyways, I really can't see why some people wouldn't like this game. It's pretty tedious, it has some issues with gameplay and stuff like that. I personally still find enjoyment in most of it. I really would like to see a remake of this game, but if that were the case, I would definitely make some big changes. But I'll save that for another video. I would like to thank you all for watching.